to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
Okay, welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode number 94. 1 week away from Call of Duty next, or less than a week at the time of you all listening to this, which means the beta is just coming down the pipeline here. As you know, Tron and the Cowboy are ready. As you may not know, we got pretty busy in the Warzone this week, getting back into the swing of things. At least that's how it felt for me. But before we dive into some news and some new developments that came out this week, I will like, as is tradition, to turn to the 10-inch Cowboy and ask you, Mr. Cowboy, how was your week this week in the Warzone?
Wow. Thank you for calling me Mr. Cowboy. I haven't felt that kind of respect from you in a long time, so I appreciate that. I honestly played a ton this week. Been back at it, you and I both, as well as some friends, and we've just been playing more. I don't know what it is. We just daily getting in there again, finally. And I think I want to tease, I have a new loadout that I'm very excited about, and it basically came about through weird circumstance where I killed somebody and took their loot and ended up playing the rest of the match with their weapons and was amazed at how fun it was. And actually, I have 2 new loadouts. Holy shit, what a day. I have 2 new loadouts that I've been running this week. Great stuff. Yeah, we'll dive into that more. But yeah, totally new weapons that I've never put in a loadout. We should talk about that. But my week was fantastic. Got a couple of wins. It's still so sweaty sometimes. I just don't know. People are just so much better than me at this game still. And I have been frustrated, but also enjoying it a little bit more. And I think it's because I've gotten back to my roots and I'm again sniping, hint, hint, at my new loadout. And it's been fantastic. So I'll leave the breadcrumbs there, which we will follow to the main jackpot later. Remember how to do this. We don't give it away off the top. We want to bait the listeners. So how was your week in the Warzone, Tron?
Wow. Yeah, a lot of baiting always going on here. I had your loadout stuff top line on the agenda, but I have since, bumped it down to line up with your, teasers to have the listener salivating, craving that answer. So I guess we'll have to find it out a little bit later. But to answer your question, my week in the Warzone was a good one. Like you said, I feel like kind of getting back into the swing of things. On one hand, yes, definitely punishing. Had my share of games, just, getting bullied around the backyard, just running home to my mommy. But then other ones kind of scrapping it along. As you said, got some wins this week, several wins. Felt good to do that. I didn't play much Rebirth because it seemed like that playlist just wasn't around. So it was mostly Fortune's Keep, which map is growing on me. I like the way the late games in that map play out. Seems very kind of frantic, which I like. I know they had kind of, I think, sped up the speed of the gas or the circles, and maybe that's part of it. But I like that map. It's definitely growing on me. My loadout's really been unchanged, still leveling the Nikita. But yeah, like you said, like the sweatiness, which I guess will lead into our first topic, is like when I start to watch, watching a little bit more streaming this week. And it's just to watch a player like a full sweat lord play this game. It's they're on a different plane of existence. It's like fucking, I'm in the Matrix. I'm like the guy getting my coffee. And then we got going up against Neo, who's not even seeing the world. He just sees code. Like, they just approach the game differently. The speed at which they play and decide and move and everything is just ramped up to 11. So, which kind of makes me excited for Warzone 2, even though maybe it'll end up the same. But, new is possibility. So to answer your question, good week in the Warzone, and it was good to be alongside you there playing some zone.
Yeah, that's a good analogy with the Matrix. I'd liken it as well for a sports analogy for a guy like me to go up and try to tackle Derrick Henry at full speed. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
there may be times where I trip him up at the bottom and he may fall down and technically I tackled him, but it's never going to be a fair fight. And most of the time I'm going to end up on the ground in pain. And that's really where I find myself most of the time. But sometimes, just sometimes, you'll get that shoestring tackle. You'll get up and celebrate with a couple of broken ribs and it works. But it's been tough. And yeah, so you're still on the Nikita tip, huh? You're still leveling that up?
Still leveling it. I still just really like it as my short range. It's like a short to medium range gun. You know, I might not have the ADS to go toe to toe with some of these SMGs, but that's kind of I feel like, I don't know if it's a beautiful or serendipitous thing, but one thing I think is kind of cool about this situation with these sweat lords is players like us, the amateurs. I feel like we've had to evolve, and the way we win is not by, jiggling the mouse faster and doing the drop shots and the bunny hops, which I just can't even physically fucking do. It's like we got to be strategic. We got to outthink these motherfuckers, outposition them. And it's really satisfying when we do. Like we as a quad will wipe some sweaty ass teams. We'll go toe to toe with them, and maybe they'll have us at the beginning, but later on in the match, I feel like we'll end up getting them by maybe making a smarter play. And so I think that's kind of a fun thing and a cool thing that the amateurs maybe are starting to get a little edge, or that's the way we can level the scores by the fucking brains up here.
Agreed. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. I mean, that's in the ideal world. A lot of times we get outpositioned ourselves and find ourselves running up a hill from the gas into the circle where there's people on top of a roof looking down on us. And it's like, storming the beaches of Normandy, man. It's tough.
But sometimes we get it right. We've talked about the David and Goliath analogy from the beginning, and that's the way we can win. It's not by having the bigger rock or the brawn, it's the brains. And I'm curious to see, how things change as we move over to Warzone 2. If that type of will be rewarded more, and maybe some of the slide canceling, finagling the fucking game mechanics to get an edge, maybe that'll be like reduced a little bit. I don't know, or like recoil will be amped up a little bit. It's hard to say, but we're in an interesting space here.
Yeah, I mean, I am imagining there's going to be a sweet period in the beginning where, it's not completely exploited by these guys that only play this for, every second of their life. But in time, the better will prevail. I think it's less about like, if it stays the same as it is now, obviously the same will unfold. I don't know what the answer is. I don't even know what the mechanic is or mode or whatever, but they have to, I don't know how they choose lobbies. I don't know how that shit works. Again, I'm an engineer, but I'm not. And I would imagine that they try to, but it doesn't seem to be working. Like, we've been in lobbies with like crazy good streamers, right? Like we've played with the best streamers in the world somehow in these lobbies, and it's like, how the hell is this happening? So hopefully they need to change the mechanic or figure out some kind of system in which that doesn't happen. So yeah, it's been brutal.
Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes when, the early era, the player base, if the more of us amateurs come back to the game or they're out of the gate. But as you know, we'll be honing our skills in the multiplayer. So hopefully when Warzone 2 does drop, we're kind of hit the ground running there. But that said, speaking of sweat lords and streamers, got a real taste of that this week, as it was the aforementioned, we've discussed, the World Series of Warzone, this time, of course, 2022 version coming back at us. I don't know about you, but I watched a bit. I believe it was a trios or quads, and they played 4 or 5 rounds. Pretty remarkable stuff just to watch that level of play across the board going up against each other, to see how they play in those environments. It was kind of remarkable. Did you happen to see any of the World Series of Warzone this year?
I think that I saw they did a solo YOLO, right?
That's right. That was the culmination of the World Series of Warzone. So after they ran this, the main event, then they did the solo YOLO, which is pretty. I mean, if you're a fan of Warzone or any of the community, Call of Duty, the League, as it were, any sort of streamer, all of them were pretty much in there, other than I guess like Doctor Disrespect. But even fucking Tim the Tapman was in the solo YOLO. So yes,
I wonder why Doc wasn't in it. Maybe Doc's not good enough.
I don't know, man. It also, I think, is partnered with Twitch, maybe, but I know obviously Tim's on YouTube, but still some weird shit going on there. We're not going to get into the whole politics there, but yeah, solo YOLO, pretty incredible to watch. So you got a chance to see that?
Saw the last 5 minutes from the winner's perspective, I think it was, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable how long this guy, I don't even know his name,
FIFA
how long
Kill.
he was in the, as long, what's it?
FIFA Kill.
FIFA Kill, interesting name. Yeah, he was in the gas for an unbelievable amount of time. And I mean, I don't know, I'm assuming you want to break this down. You sent me this clip, so I know you know what I'm talking about, but it was like we talked about, dude, Derrick Henry, Neo, guys we can't handle as plebs,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the solo YOLO, that we talk about watching the main event, which is quads, like you watch them play a certain way there, but the solo YOLO that is like the scrappiest, the rattiest of rattiness. Every single person, 100, whatever, 20 players it is that drop in, all of them essentially playing that way. Tons of riot shields, tons of stun grenades, pretty much everyone running, restock as that perk too. And so, yes, the FIFA Kill, who I believe was the runner-up last year for the solo YOLO, pretty incredible to come back this year, wins it. Remarkable end game. The clips are out there if you want to see them, or the full match. It's worth it. Some amazing stuff. But yeah, really utilizing the gas mask, his stims, which again, restocking, really just shows you like the different approach and players go to this. And I think my main takeaway is, you see his face on screen while he's playing, and the man just seemed so calm. Like this was just, he's playing his life.
Very focused. Yeah, he was, maybe, but it was interesting. As soon as he won, it was like, pure ecstasy, jumping out, screaming. He had friends watching him. Yeah, it seemed like he was just sitting in a basement by himself, but he must have been like with a bunch of people and doing like having a party or something. It was like, it was pretty remarkable to watch. Guy's really good at that game. He's could learn something watching him.
Yeah, $100,000 victory there. So you can understand why there was so much excitement. But I mean, the bragging rights too. Some of the biggest names in the games. Like that was what was really cool about the solo YOLO. I mean, of all of them, but solo YOLO specifically is when one streamer would get a kill, you always knew it was with another streamer. So like you would hear the name called out, like, oh, Tommy just murked the shit out of Z Laner, like, oh damn, or Aiden's fucking going toe to toe with some of these other guys that in any other scenario they're just dominating. So it was interesting, as we've talked about. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we love that. I love to watch it, but specifically like for us amateurs, obviously, we can't really aspire to get to that level. But one thing I think you really learn from watching this is you can learn, from watching this. A few things. One, like what's the meta? What are people running? What's the fucking moves out there? Two, like how are they rotating? Where are they dropping? What are they playing for? One of the things that was like huge, became huge in the quad or trio tournament was they were using that Doomsday crate, and the teams were hunting that fucking thing, and the ones who found it were able to get foresight, and it just became a massive, massive advantage for their team.
Oh yeah.
So different styles of play there. Interesting shit. I think a team won back-to-back games, which again, like you can talk about, there's a lot of luck involved with Warzone, but then when you see things like this, a guy like FIFA Kill gets runner-up and then wins it, and then a team gets back-to-back dubs in this, like, so clearly, obviously, there's some skill, some fucking shit going on. But speaking of the meta this year, it was incredible for somebody who, like me, who loves weapon diversity, is there was a ton of it. I mean, I guess aside from the the long range like AR space, 90% of people have felt like we're running the UGM, but like the SMGs were all different, and there were a decent amount of ARs mixed in there too, and snipers, like you said.
What would you off the top of your head know what the kind of like top SMG, top AR, top sniper were? I mean, I think I know what the sniper was, but
the UGM was damn near the move for the guys who didn't want to run sniper for long range. The 3 to 6x scope. It just has that massive magazine, great low recoil, great damage profile right now. It's kind of undisputed. But the automaton was definitely mixed in there. I saw some of those, and then snipers. That was kind of the decision. It seemed like players either made, or so they went like UGM or sniper. And the sniper of choice, interestingly enough, was that Gorenko anti-tank rifle was just all over the board. But in terms of SMGs, I saw a lot of Blixens, Armagueras in there. The Marco was a very popular one as well. And then I can't remember if I saw a fourth one, but there was some good diversity in there.
Yeah, that make you feel good as a diversity guy?
I mean, I loved it. And something I quote tweeted from our account this week is, True Game Data echoed that sentiment. He's like, look, right now there's so many viable good guns that it's difficult for him to make a video saying like, what is the long range meta right now? So, somebody like me is loving that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm I'm happy for you. So what is next? Do they do this yearly? Is this like a monthly? Is it a series? Like, what is the World Series of Warzone? I'm guessing it's a series.
Yeah, it's a yearly occurrence, and they do North America and Europe. Europe went first a few days before, and then North America, I think, was on the Friday. I don't know if it'll be coming back around for like another team configuration or something like that. I think it maybe has concluded for the year, but obviously all those replays, highlights, all that good stuff is out there. Check it out, learn a little bit. And the other thing is, like, in speaking of weapon diversity, when we drop in as a quad now, to me, this is always the barometer, is like our quad team, everyone's running something different. I don't think anyone's running the same anything. Like, I'll run the Vargo with the Nikita. Sparks will be running like the Automaton with the PPSH. When we'll have like Smeeden running the fucking UGM and then the Blixen. And then are we ready to finally reveal it here? These new loadout discoveries or what?
Yes. So what I'm running. So I have a sniper loadout now. And I have just like a more longer range, shorter range, kind of more diverse, if I don't feel like sniping, late game situation loadout. Which one do you want to hear about first?
Well, I think the sniper discovery came later, so let's keep this chronological, because you were excitedly told me when we got on midweek that you had found a new loadout. So let's talk about that one, I think.
Yes. So I had picked this loadout up off of somebody that I had merked myself, and the AR that I'm using now, which I haven't ever equipped in my loadout, is the Automaton. The Automaton is kind of a laser beam right now. I'm really enjoying it. I like the big mag that it has on it. It's not too hard to reload like some of the other larger, like say like the UMG and stuff like that. So the Automaton, I'm digging that. And then the next one is a curveball that we haven't really heard about in a long time. And that's our old friend, the Milano. So I found, some skin some guy had. It was like a flowery skin. I think like it has flower in it. The name of the whatever it is.
I'll take a look while you continue.
Yeah. And so I had basically built that loadout or built that gun, and that's it. So I'm running a Milano and an Automaton, and I've been just thoroughly enjoying it. It's been so fun. I hadn't found an AR or an LMG in a long time that I thought that suited my shitty gameplay style. So the Automaton is very forgiving, and as well as the Milano, there's a bit of hip fire that you can do with it, and then it's also a laser beam, especially when you hit your headshots. So yeah, that's what I'm dealing with. I'd say like most of the late rounds I'm grabbing this, and then I have my sniper loadout.
Well, checking here, I'm 90% sure the blueprint you're referring to is called Flower Power.
That's right.
Milano blueprint, which that's an interesting pairing, because kind of those are two meta weapons that were like meta for a time and then went away and then kind of reappear, disappear, reappear. They come back into it's like your deadbeat dad left when you were a kid, showed back up when you were in high school, starting to show some promise, maybe getting a scholarship. He wanted to get his fucking grubby hands on that. Then you got hurt senior year, so he's out of the picture. But then in college, you go get your degree as like an engineer or some shit, and now look who's fucking showing up again, right?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about anything?
Yeah. So, anyways, because like the automaton, that was like the original meta top tier move when Caldera first dropped, Vanguard first integrated. Then it got nerfed. Then some other buffs and nerfs it went back to the forefront, disappeared again. But yes, as of that most recent massive weapons tuning patch, that was the takeaway. Folks like Warzone Loadout, that rank guns, the highest, S tier is the I think he calls it absolute meta. Right now, he has the UGM and the Automaton is what he's listing for the long-range meta. Milano, again, similarly, like, that was definitely the de facto move at one point during Black Ops. Kind of went away, but I don't think it ever got nerfed to where it was poor. I always feel like that's a pretty solid one, especially on Rebirth. You get that Red Room one off the ground, but that's interesting. But didn't you find yourself... Because that's more skewing long range there. The Milano is not necessarily like a close range kind of gun.
It kind of works though for some reason. I don't know why. It's not a Mac 10. It's not that close range, but it's not close range. I don't know. It works for me. It's been working.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you found that, but I think more interesting to me is when I could feel the passion coming through the mic with you is when you were rocking some sort of sniper back to your roots, hitting fucking headshots. I know we kind of looked at the list of what Warzone Loadout said was the sniper meta. Is that one of the guns you found from that list? What is this new sniper discovery?
Yeah, it's that anti-tank. I don't even know the name of it, to be honest. It starts.
I think it's the Gorenko anti-tank rifle is the full name, which is listed as like that's the meta sniper right now.
For sure, and it makes total sense. I don't even have it all the way leveled up, but it feels like it has a pretty quick ADS right now, and it's registering headshots big time, which is something that I hadn't felt in a long time. So it's like a little bit slower than the car and obviously the Swiss, but it's still allowing you to, be mobile and do quicker sniping maneuvers, if that makes sense. And it's viable. I was hitting headshots. I had 5 kills one game just sniping, just headshot sniping, and it was so much fun. And then I'm pairing that with the Milano, which is, again, a great, I think, I had been pairing my car with a Cooper, and that was great and all, but the close range stuff is just so hard with the Cooper, especially with the longer range build on the Cooper. So, yeah, I have like that. It's kind of like a medium range Milano with the Gorenko, and I've been loving it. It's invigorated my lifestyle.
Yeah, and I love to hear that. But I haven't tried that gun. I don't think I've shot it once, but I think what I heard is something like you don't even have to let off ADS between shots. Is that right? Like, isn't this kind of a unique sniper in that regard or something like that?
I'm not sure. Out of instinct, I would release the ADS just because it's like, I don't know. I didn't know that, and maybe I'll try that. I didn't realize you could stay looking down the scope. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe it was Smeeden who also, because Smeeden is very, someone we run with a ton and very passionate about watching streamers in the Warzone community. And he was like, what is the sniper I'm seeing all over the World Series of Warzone? And I told him that's the Gorenko. I sent him the, recommended build, and I think he's running that as well. And he said, yeah, he's kind of having to rewire his brain and not let off that. And you can just kind of continuously shoot ADSing until it's time to reload. At least that's what I've understood. I'll snipe here and there. I might have to check this out, although obviously mine isn't level up, so maybe I'll just have to murder someone, take it off their body. But love that it seems like you've kind of found your way, found your weapons. As we said, we're finding our sea legs here just in time to get going. But any final thoughts before we move on?
No, It's just an exciting time. I think if you ever feel like it may be fun for you to try the sniper. I know you're not a huge sniper guy, but it's been fun.
Well, speaking of sniping, one thing I meant to pose to you last week, but got shuffled along, is a thought by somebody we both admire and talk about fondly. That is the man himself, Dr. Disrespect. He had a tweet last week where he said, "A headshot with the sniper should be an automatic knock or elimination in any video game." What are your thoughts on this? Agree, disagree, complicated?
When he says knock, does that mean down or just kill?
Yeah,
that just
down.
mean down.
Down.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do agree because it's really hard to make that happen from distance. Yeah, and again, the car and the Swiss, they're marksman rifles, baby. They're not snipers. So maybe, but like, I don't know. It's tough. I agree with that. I think it should be, and the game's more fun for me when it is that way, for sure.
Yeah, I think I fundamentally have to agree too. Like, I think there's, I guess to go back to the word fundamental, like there's almost these unwritten rules that I feel like certain things should just be a certain way for video games, specifically first person shooters. And this, to me, I agree. It's one of them. Like, to me, that the first game I can remember sniping in was Halo. And that was why it was so it was like the most valuable. There's one or two on most maps. Teams were fighting for that fucking thing because if you hit that single headshot, you eliminated the motherfucker. Yeah. And it's a skill to hit that headshot. Like, it's this inherently should be a high skill weapon. If they're finding that, oh, it's too easy to get those headshots, to get those instant downs, I don't think the answer is, oh, well, then let's just nerf it and you have to make 2 headshots or whatever it is now. No, fuck that. You fucked something up. You need to go take a step back, and maybe the gun's too easy to use. It should be a high skill weapon, but it should be a high reward weapon. Like, so maybe they need to increase like flinch like they did, or have more weapon sway. That's really not weapon sniper sway doesn't really affect this game at all. Like, they have the hold your breath mechanic, which is theoretically because sway should be an issue, but it's just not. So I think that's one thing they've screwed up on. Maybe they'll get back to that in Modern Warfare 2, but I agree fundamentally. And on the flip side, something like a shotgun, I feel like that should be an instant down, at point blank range. Like, there's just these fundamental classes of weapons that should do something across the board. And so I'm in agreement. It sounds like you're in agreement. What about you all out there, listeners? How do you feel?
Was that yeah, I'm in agreement. How do they feel? Yes. I guess that was a rhetorical question. I agree.
But yeah, any final thoughts on that idea?
I think that, yeah, I agree that like the answer isn't to like limit the, like not allow people to be down from a headshot. It's just then make the target size smaller. That's it's as simple as that. Make it harder to hit those shots. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, there's other ways to nerf it without nerfing the damage. Make the reload mechanic slower. Make the magazine smaller. Make the glint brighter. I don't know. But we'll see. That said, we don't know if they're going to do this whole max damage range thing with Modern Warfare 2 or all that. That's one thing I'm really curious to see when we hop in, because we're going to be there day one, which is like a week or so away. Is how is the sniper space going to be defined in a Modern Warfare 2? But that's really it for kind of what happened this week, although there was a huge announcement, not necessarily for players like us, but a huge announcement in terms of Call of Duty and moving forward. However, before we get to that, it's time to share a word from our sponsor this week. And, the day we're recording this on a Friday, and the day before was officially the start of the NFL season kicking off. And so we can say clearly football is back, baby. We're back to seeing Mahomes sling beautiful balls all over the field. And your friends at Manscaped are here to help you sling your beautiful balls all season long. With Manscaped's state-of-the-art tech, we'll have your weapon looking more loaded than the AFC West. Football may be rough, but your ball care doesn't have to be with Manscaped. So join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com. using the code WAH, and that's going to get you 20% off your purchase and free shipping.
Yes. So now let's go through the seasons again. We were in smooth sack summer, and then it was fresh ball fall.
Yes.
And now we're entering, which one is this?
This is coinciding with fresh ball fall, but yeah, it's just football.
Oh, it's just fresh football ball fall. Okay, some football. Watched the game last night. My team, the Rams, got absolutely spanked by the Bills, which didn't feel good. I picked up Cam Akers myself on my fantasy team, and let's just say I'm not looking forward to the rest of the season. Back to you, Tron.
Nice. Yeah, well, we won't dive into that too much. That's for a separate podcast. But meet the best valued bundle yet for the Manscaped Pocket Rockets, the Platinum Package. They said at QB, they got the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. At running back, the Weed Whacker Hair and Nose Hair Trimmer. On offensive line, they have the unsung heroes, the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. At wide out, they have the cleanest duo in the league, the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. Tight End is a product that makes your end look tight. They're anti-chafing boxer briefs. On defense, there's only one thing you need, the aluminum-free Ultra Premium Deodorant. And on top of it all, the best coach in the league, the Shed Travel Bag.
The best coach in the league. That's really interesting. I like how they're mixing up the copy, though. You know, this isn't just like the same old thing. Like now, you know, I guess they know their audience, really.
That's right. So yes, as we said, if you want to take advantage, get some of these products, go to manscaped.com, use the code WAH, get 20% off and free shipping.
Use the code, people.
All right. Well, yes, back to that cliffhanger. You know, we're back from our commercial break. It's time to reveal what I was alluding to, which was some new shit being announced this week, which is kind of was a foregone conclusion, something everyone was expected, but we've talked about that. There is Call of Duty Mobile, which is a massive success. I think a huge moneymaker for Activision. I think one of the big reasons, you know, why that purchase for Microsoft was, you know, so enticing. But they officially announced this week that Call of Duty Mobile, Warzone Mobile is officially coming. And it sounds like it's going to be linked to Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. And actually, I saw some tweets saying they think that there's actually going to be shared progression across those three games. So if you level up a gun on Warzone Mobile, it'll carry over to Modern Warfare 2 and to Warzone 2 and, you know, mix and match how you feel.
That's really interesting. Okay, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. That seems cool, right? I like that. I mean, I don't really know how much Call of Duty Mobile I'm going to be getting in, but if I wanted to play it, I'd like to know that my progress transcends.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played any sort of mobile multiplayer like game other than, you know, like fucking cards or something. But let's say I got a long journey and I'm going to need to play something. Obviously, you probably won't have the PS5, but maybe I'm like looking to level a gun or something. Maybe I'll hop on the old Warzone Mobile, you know, run some plunder on my phone while I'm like on a train or some shit.
That's a great point. Yeah, you never know when, you know, you're going to need to you need to scratch the itch. And this allows you to do that.
So yeah, not a ton as far as I know details revealed yet. I believe we'll get, you know, some more there with Call of Duty Next, which is our next big thing on the agenda coming up here on the 15th of September. So we'll have more details for that next week. But yes, that's official. So we kind of got a three-pronged approach to Call of Duty in the coming year. It'll be, I think Modern Warfare 2 will come first, then I think Warzone 2, then Warzone Mobile, but not sure about that, if that sequencing is correct. But they're going to be, you know, it sounds like they're planning out this integration, this whole umbrella shit a little bit more, with a little more forethought, let's just say, than what they've done now. Because it's become evident that, like, what we have with Warzone now, definitely nobody was planning on that shit.
Yeah, I like it though. They're thinking ahead, you know? Curious to see how the storyline their trailers and videos work together, all these different, we'll see what happens.
That's true. That's one thing we haven't mentioned is with this new standalone game on the horizon. Like, that's a whole new cinematic, and it ain't just going to be any cinematic. As we said, there's a whole campaign, which you've never played, which I really am hoping we can do a playthrough and perhaps record it, as we said, do some commentary. But yeah, that'll be a real taste of what are they doing. They obviously have a rich history of Modern Warfare games to pull from, character, storylines, all that stuff. Again, I can't really remember the storyline at the beginning of Warzone. I feel like it wasn't that bad. A lot of it had to do with the nukes under Verdansk, if I recall correctly, and kind of stopping that. So we'll see. The bar set so fucking low that, literally
they can do it. They can do it. But we'll see. We'll see.
So that's really it for the announcements. Although there was a new reveal that happened this week, is they've been releasing little chunk clips, like 15-second teaser clips of Modern Warfare 2, like for Facebook ads or little promos here on there on Twitter. And so people obviously, scanning every fucking frame, trying to figure out what can they learn, what's being shown. And one thing that's clear, that's, 99.9% confirmed here, which some people are going to be happy about, some people won't, probably most, is that the riot shield is definitely going to be making its return for Modern Warfare 2. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really care. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to not be there. Did you actually think it wouldn't be there?
No, I think I'm with you. Like, it's pretty much a staple of, Call of Duty games and Warzone specifically. Like, that's just a niche, like, the riot shield folk. That's a different breed of player. As we saw in the solo YOLO, you can use that shit and exploit and have a lot of success.
Yeah, and I'm okay. Like, yeah, I don't really get screwed over by riot shield guys that often. It happens, but it's not as bad as like the other things that I think could be addressed that make my life more of a living hell on the map.
So if you had a choice, would you keep them or get rid of them?
I'd get rid of them. If I had a choice, I'd get rid of them. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's not something that.
Go ahead.
You think you'd keep them? No, go.
I think I would keep them. I like wrinkles. I like having different play styles having their place in the game. If somebody wants to play like a little fucking rat, hide behind a shield, I think that adds an element to Warzone. It improves it. Like, if everybody just runs the same loadouts and does the same play style, to me, that's stale. The beauty of this game, which is kind of goes in line with the diversity of weapons, I think, is like that you can have 10 players play the game, 10 different play styles, and each of them can find success in kind of their own unique way. And to me, the riot shield, that's just one of those avenues that you can do it. Like, maybe they can tone it down. I think the movement speed's maybe a little bit too fast, or there should be, I think, some more downsides, because sometimes it does seem like those fuckers are just like impenetrable. Like, if there's times I remember I downed a guy and I like was having trouble even finishing him off because he was twisting around on the down and his shield was blocking me. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, that is frustrating. I hear you on that.
So you'd rather have him out, though?
I just get him out of here. Yeah, it's not my style of play, and people I feel like that play with it is just cowardly. I don't know.
Well, that's
my
fair.
thoughts.
Yeah. But finally, here to conclude, we got a fantastic email from a listener. He didn't list his gamer tag, so I'm just going to go ahead and address him by his first name, last initial. His name was Craig M. It related to something we talked about in the patch notes weeks back, which was when we were going over the Battle Hardened perk. They said there was a surprise in store. Remember this? That's going to be coming into play later in the season with the Battle Hardened perk, and we were wondering, like, what the fuck does that mean? You said maybe it has to do with like lava coming into play. Well, Craig M has a theory, and he says, great job with the pod. When you were theorizing this week about what the quote surprise in store might be for the Battle Hardened perk later in the season, I had an idea. I believe throughout the season they'll keep increasing. Oh wait, maybe this was this you? Oh, maybe I fucking crossed my wires here. Sorry. So he said maybe this season they'll keep increasing the volcanic activity at peak on Caldera, and the perk might help players who are late circle Avoid taking damage from the volcanic rocks and lava raining down. This feels like a kind of trashy thing that they often try to do to stimulate interest in the game, but is actually really annoying and often riddled with bugs, which is why I'm confident in my theory. I absolutely love the pod despite getting very time to actually play the game these days. Thanks for helping me stay in touch with what's going on in a lighthearted and often hilarious way. So apologies. So I'm not sure what your theory was with that when we talked about it, but that's his theory, is that it might be tied to lava. Any thoughts on this?
Okay, sorry. So I'm now confused. Did I say that, or did I not say that?
I mixed it up. You didn't say lava. You had a theory though about how battle hardened this change could come into play. I forget what it was around.
I don't remember
still
either.
Stumped.
I'm
still
come up with all
fucking
kinds
stumped.
of shit. But yeah, I think that I like the idea of the volcano getting more and more active throughout. Knowing these guys, though, knowing these game developers, they'll add some like token that you have to pick up from a chest, and then once the points get high enough, it'll like the next level of the volcano will go up, like that damn hero and villain shit that's going on right now on all the maps, which is such a pain in my ass. But I like the idea of it getting. I mean, okay, well, maybe we should spitball here. Let's talk about volcanoes. You know, what kind of like monsters or like things can they bring into to like, you know, what are the next like integrations here? You know, like is it
I think we're done on integrations until I think the teams are migrating over to the new Modern Warfare, the new Warzone. As we said, this season runs until the day Warzone 2 drops. I think
got it.
They've fucking, moved on. Like maybe they're still hooking up on the weekends, but their heart has gone on. But to give some perspective on what exactly the Battle Hardened perk is for those who need a refresher, which includes me, it reduces the strength of flash, stun, EMP, and gas effects, and it makes you immune to snapshot grenades. So with that in mind, I appreciate this theory by Craig M, but I don't think this is what they're going to do with it, because A, it would only apply on Caldera, which is the only map with volcanic activity. And I don't think Battle Hardened would work one way on Caldera versus another way on Fortune's Keep and Rebirth Island. So not sure there, but it makes me think they're gonna do something maybe not massive, but significant to, obviously it's all about tacticals. This is countering tacticals. So I think maybe we're due for either a new tactical equipment being introduced here, or like them redoing that space a bit. But they've already nerfed and buffed quite a bit. So that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't really realize that obviously the season's ending, which makes total sense, and the map's going to go away. So yeah, maybe they're not putting all that effort in. But yeah, I could see him not doing shit. You know, I could see it. Basically,
they tease this big change and then it just never happens.
This is never going to happen. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we've had that happen in this game before, where they're like, oh, you're going to get answers about something. We're like, oh, still, I mean, I guess maybe it kind of, I'm thinking about like the attack helicopters early on when they introduced those. Then they got rid of them. They're like, they'll be coming back. And then they just never came back till like Caldera came around. So I don't know.
Yeah. Or like, how about the field of vision? How about the FOV for, like another thing that got brought up that never got addressed,
Yeah. So
not unprecedented. I'll just say that.
Well, we'll keep tracking this. And, I think they'll obviously going to be still doing some patches, even though the season's not going to turn over. I'm not sure. It's yet to be seen if they'll do like an official reloaded type of thing halfway between now and November 16th, which is when it ends, which is when it's all rumored Warzone 2 goes live. So we'll keep, tabs on this story if they do end up tweaking Battle Hardened. I'm obviously not running Battle Hardened at all, although it seems like it's much more popular now with, the popularity of snapshot grenades, and it's never really crossed my mind that when I am snapshotting, I could potentially be missing these motherfuckers who have that thing.
Yeah, that would be a mind fuck, huh?
Yeah, so opening my eyes, I guess I should be more scared than I have been. But really, that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. We are so close to COD Next, which means next week we're going to hopefully have a massive info dump to recap that, get our first looks at Modern Warfare 2, get our first glimpse of Warzone 2, and the day after, dropping into the PlayStation beta. I mean, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm going to have to make a decision right out of the gate. What is my first AR? And, you know, you probably don't remember this because it was so long ago, but when you first start out, you know, day one on a Modern Warfare or a Call of Duty game, excuse me, you only usually have one or two options from each class, and you gotta fucking grind to unlock the others. So it's like, what if, you know, there was a Call of Duty, I think it was the original Black Ops, where the AK-47 was the very last AR that you unlocked. So you literally had to put hours and hours into the game just to get the AK. So if they do something like that for me, I don't know. It's going to be, I don't know. I'm excited though, man. I'm excited.
It's very exciting times. And just to maybe cap us off here, how long until this happens?
So the 16th is the first day of the beta, and then the 15th is going to be Call of Duty next, my friend.
Wow. Coming up quick.
So only a few days after the debut of this episode. So yeah, this is really, wow. This is our last episode in a world in which we have not played Modern Warfare 2.
Wow. Couldn't come soon enough, and hopefully this heat wave ends before we dive in there, because I think it's going to be hot.
You know, in the words of Bob Seger, it's like what is it? The show's over. Turn the page. Like that's the moment we're having here. So
yeah, big time, exciting.
So go ahead.
No, I just said it's exciting.
So yes, as we've said, that's gonna do it for us this week. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, follow, all that good shit. Get on our YouTube. Check some stuff out there. We released that full gameplay of my PR. I got a good death comm I'm going to hopefully upload this week. But we love the support. We're getting ramped up. The band's getting back together. The community's coming back. The amateurs are coming out of hiding because the fresh horizon is coming down the pipeline. So we will talk to you next week after Call of Duty next. And until then,
good luck in your final gulags.
Wow.